Hey, what is the government of Singapore thinking? Disciplining them?
The boxers took time out from their busy film shoot to speculate on the upcoming April 22nd heavyweight fight on pay-per-view between reigning world champion Evander Holyfield and Michael Moorer.
I think that if Moorer was not a southpaw, it would be palmed hands down for Evander Holyfield. But because he's a left-hander and he's put on that way, he can cause a lot of trouble for Evander Holyfield.
Bottom line is that the lefty will prevail because, especially in the heavyweight division, where there's no lefties at all, that it's time for a heavyweight champion. He'll be the first to be a lefty.
The explosive matchup will have the whole boxing world watching.
I can already tell you, without having heard the bell for round one, this fight is in contention for Fight of the Year, knowing both styles.
This is my chance of a lifetime. This is a chance for me to be on top of the heavyweight division, to be the champion of the world. I'm a puncher. I'll smash him April 22nd.
I do have the guts to go out and go against the odds. That's something that was instilled by my mother. Anything you do your best. It's mean going against the odds to do what you feel that is right. It's worthy.
Evander Real Deal Holyfield was last seen in the ring in November 1993 when he went the distance with Riddick Big Daddy Bo to recapture the heavyweight title. Now, as he prepares to face Michael Moorer, a lefty considered to be a devastating puncher, the heavyweight championship is on the line once again.
It's the first time an American southpaw has fought for the heavyweight championship. They're that rare amongst heavyweight fighters.
The southpaw love they don't counterpunch very well. They love to lead, but if you take the lead from them, then they'll step into your way and you'll hit them a lot. So you just reverse the role. You don't change, make them change.
Comes April 22nd, my brother. It's all gonna be business. When hammer and nails hit, it's gonna be a force, brother, and I mean it.
Holyfield's a great fighter. Moore's a great fighter. Like I said, may the best man win, and maybe you'll see still the champion of the world, or maybe a new champion of the world. Who knows?
Will the Real Deal retain his crown? Will the southpaw prevail? Find out when the Fight of the Year airs live on pay-per-view from Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, Friday, April 22nd.
On that night, the whole world will know.
Next on HBO. The contenders are ready to slow them down or take the crown. Boxing doubleheader. Pernell Whitaker versus Santos Cardona and McGirt versus Campos. Next on HBO.
I want to take a moment to praise the fine young men you see before you. Warriors, one and all, whose strength, courage, and splenditude make them pound for pound the best fighters in the world. Oscar De La Hoya, whose blinding hand speed is nothing short of divine. A man who preys on his opponents with lightning-quick combinations. Buddy McGirt, graced with boxing's greatest gift of jab, Kevin Kelly. The lights may be out, but somebody is definitely at home, James Toney. With a right hand that delivers hellfire and fury, Riddick Bowe. Now, raise your voices in song and sing the praises of the sweet science. Perhaps you all can surf better elsewhere.
HBO. Pound for pound, the best fighters in the world right here.
Shall we retire? Go! To the gym! Yes! Hallelujah!
Tonight, it's on HBO. At 6:45, Whitaker versus Cardona, McGirt versus Bramble, a boxing doubleheader. At 9, Chuck Norris in a Saturday night premiere, Sidekicks. Then at 10:45, Kim Basinger, Richard Gere, Final Analysis. Boxing, Sidekicks, and Final Analysis. HBO is on tonight.
The following is a special presentation of HBO Sports.
Introducing Sugar Ray Robinson.
He was the consummate boxing combination of strength, grace, and courage. 40 years ago, the title Best Fighter in the World Pound for Pound was invented to describe Sugar Ray Robinson. There will never be another just like him, though through the years, many other boxing legends have shared his unofficial title. For the moment, the identity of best pound for pound in the world belongs in the eyes of most to WBC welterweight champion Pernell Whitaker, clear conqueror of former unofficial titleist Julio Cesar Chavez. Tonight, Sweet Pea Whitaker returns home as the city of Norfolk welcomes back its world champion and native son. Also tonight, former welterweight champion James Buddy McGirt returns to the ring, hoping to earn another shot at the title he lost to Whitaker last year. Plus, a special preview of this month's heavyweight championship fight between Evander Holyfield and Michael Moorer, as both challenger and champion join us live from their training camps. Tonight, live from Norfolk, Virginia, HBO Sports presents a boxing doubleheader. First, James Buddy McGirt takes on Livingstone Bramble in a 12-round welterweight bout. And then, Norfolk's own Pernell Whitaker defends his WBC welterweight championship against #1 contender Santos Cardona of Puerto Rico. It's also scheduled for 12 rounds. The Scope in Norfolk, an arena over the years more accustomed to the staging of basketball games and rock concerts, has over the course of the past 9 years become visible in the boxing world as the home arena of the fighter now lauded by almost everyone in the sport as the world's best fighter pound for pound, Pernell Sweet Pea Whitaker of Norfolk. A big crowd gathers here tonight as he returns home to celebrate his obvious victory 7 months ago over Julio Cesar Chavez in San Antonio. Hello again, everybody. I'm Jim Lampley. We welcome you back to HBO's World Championship Boxing for this evening of welterweights in Norfolk. Pernell Whitaker defending his title against the #1 contender, and Buddy McGirt fighting Livingstone Bramble for the chance to get back into position to try to challenge Whitaker for the title that Pernell took away from him in Madison Square Garden a year ago. It's always our privilege to work with HBO boxing analyst Larry Merchant. Larry, I sized up the evening in a few short words. In your view, what brings us to Norfolk tonight?
The crab cakes, Jim, but not only the crab cakes. We're here to show you the homecoming celebration of Pernell Whitaker and his new status as the best fighter south of the heavyweight division. In addition, since that infamous draw with Julio Cesar Chavez, the draw he won, Pernell Whitaker has been more widely acknowledged as the best pure boxer of his time. He's the Picasso of that kind of canvas, and we're here to see what kind of picture he paints or draws or even sculpts.
And the battle between Whitaker and Cardona a little bit down the line tonight, as we have plenty of other boxing material to cover. But as we turn to our HBO boxing expert, George Foreman. George, it's inescapable that the obvious signs are here for a possible big letdown for Whitaker, coming off the greatest performance of his career, fighting at home. Do you see a possible upset?
I see a great chance for an upset. He no longer referred to himself as I. No more pronouns. It's strictly Pernell Whitaker this, Pernell Whitaker that. Pride before a foul, it can happen. If Cardona is hungry enough, we may see a great upset.
And that'll be the second main event of the evening. It'll be preceded by Buddy McGirt against Livingstone Bramble. But before we get to that welterweight bout, a look ahead to an event set for 2 weeks from now in Las Vegas, the pay-per-view heavyweight championship battle between Evander Holyfield and Michael Moorer.
And once again, heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield. The winner by knockout victory, Michael Moorer.
In 2 weeks, Evander Holyfield puts his WBA and IBF heavyweight titles on the line. The champion, as always, is consumed by the will to win. The challenger, Michael Moorer, has the power to destroy. On April 22, they collide. It's a badly overused cliche, But styles do make fights, and this one has the potential to be great. Both men are gifted athletes who enjoy toe-to-toe combat, punchers who get hit often and come back with a vengeance.
This is a fight between two men that you consider to be the strongest men in the world and the people who are the paragons of strength and athleticism.
But championships are not always won by the strongest man. As much as physical readiness, mental toughness is the key step up to that plateau. It's a step both fighters are determined to make.
It's the little things that really make a fight a little better. You know, I've been boxing now for, 23 years, and now it's not so much how hard I fight, it's how smart I fight.
People will say power, but I don't think power plays anything in it. I think it's knowing that I want it and I want to do it.
Michael Moorer has for years been a Holyfield admirer, but it wasn't until after Evander's rematch with Riddick Bowe that the public began to fully appreciate the champion's great heart.
Stuns Bowe again!
Here was Evander giving 140% of himself, and all of a sudden you came to understand what this man was all about. And he was all about laying it all on the line and being himself and digging down deep and every other cliche that sports writers write.
It is precisely what we expect from Holyfield again, and what he may need against perhaps the heavyweight division's hardest and most powerful puncher.
It's not so much what he can do, it's the confidence that he has in himself that will pose a problem. So the whole thing is that I don't expect no one to be ranked #1, to fight for a championship and not having the confidence.
Beyond self-confidence, Michael Moorer poses another problem for Evander Holyfield. He fights southpaw, and it's been 8 years since Evander went up against a left-hander.
There's very few southpaws around in the heavyweight division, and therefore it's difficult for guys to prepare for them because there's few guys to spar with.
In boxing, a southpaw, particularly in Michael's case, being he's such a big puncher, you have to move a lot, and whenever you see Michael getting ready to punch, in this case, you need to move to your right, which means moving away from the southpaw's left hand.
And as differently as they fight, their training regimens are equally dissimilar. Working with Teddy Atlas, Michael Moorer trains like the boxers of old, using basic, tried and true, but still effective training techniques. For Evander, the firing of Emanuel Stewart and the addition of new trainer Don Turner has done nothing to change his post-modern workout. Coaches for bodybuilding and stretching, coupled with the use of some high-tech equipment.
I know Teddy has me training and working out hard, so I'm not really worried about the high-tech things that he has and the weights and things like that. Doesn't bother me.
This is a formidable contender. I mean, I can already tell you, without having heard the bell for round 1, this fight is in contention for Fight of the Year, knowing both styles.
So the heavyweight championship drumbeat continues. Two warriors, unrestrained. Two fighters who have built themselves into heavyweight stardom by doing what both will hope to do on April 22. To win convincingly. What Michael Moorer does with heavy-handed punching power, Evander Holyfield hopes to do with savvy and determination.
Evander's going to be more of the flashier, busier type fighter, but he's going to have to always be aware of the big bombs that Michael has that could knock him out at any point in time.
So don't miss the explosions in the ring on the night of April 22. The undefeated southpaw and bad boy Michael Moorer, determined to capture the title and a place in history. And the champion, Evander Holyfield, looking to win this bout and inch his way a little closer toward unifying the title. Again, the pay-per-view bout scheduled for the evening of Friday, April 22 in Las Vegas. It's our privilege to be joined now by both champion and challenger from their respective training camps. First, the champion Evander Holyfield, live from Houston, Texas, and the challenger Michael Moorer, joining us live from his camp in Palm Springs, California. Evander, I'll begin with you. Last November, in only your second fight with trainer Emanuel Stewart, you produced what many believe is the defining performance of your career. Now, surprisingly to most of us, Stewart is gone. Why?
Well, it came down to a business decision. He chose to not fight for the money I offered him, so he decided to move on.
So Stewart goes away, and you have trainer Don Turner, but with him also goes cutman Ace Murata. Now, many will remember that when you were head-butted and had a terrible cut against Larry Holmes, Murata did an effective job of stopping the bleeding, helping you to finish that 12-round bout and score a victory. Why did Ace have to go, too?
Well, it wasn't a point of Ace with the team called Ace with Lou and George. We didn't have a cut man for the
second bow fight.
We didn't have a cut man for the second bow fight, and Ace Murata said he would do it. And when I picked up Don Turner just happened to be a cut man too. So Don Turner said he could do both.
All right, Evander, so now you get ready to work with the third trainer of your career. I'll turn to Michael Moorer, because, Michael, you've changed trainers a couple of times, and you worked with Emanuel Stewart at the beginning of your professional career. What, in your view, might Evander lose with Stewart gone from his camp?
I don't think he would really lose anything. I don't think it's the trainers that make the fight. I think it's the fighter who makes themselves.
And there's been a rumor that you've had difficulty once again with your trainer, this time the third man to have handled you, Teddy Atlas. Who's the boss in your camp?
Teddy's the boss. We're both each other's boss. There's no problem circulating in my camp about Teddy and I having problems.
All right, I'll go back to Evander Holyfield. Evander, you're the veteran now of heavyweight championship fights. Michael Moorer gets ready for his first challenge for the heavyweight title. In your view, is there going to be a big adjustment for Michael stepping up to the kind of occasion this is, the media demands, the public demands?
Well, I think it'll be equal for both. And one way, I think if we all take things in a positive route, that, you know, he'd be geared. There's this opportunity to make history, being the first left-hander. And on my behalf, I got to go out and work hard and prove a point again that I'm still the champion. I still have what it takes to be the champion.
Do you fear any kind of emotional letdown coming off that great performance against Riddick Bowe last November?
But not at all. I truly believe that I know that I'm fighting a dangerous opponent. He's very good. He's ranked #1, and I got to go out and be at my best.
Michael Moorer, there are some experts who believe that because Evander is such a warrior, because if there's a weakness in his armor, it's his willingness or his ability to defend himself, that he is in some ways a tailor-made opponent for you. Do you believe that too?
I couldn't really answer that, to be honest. I would have to fight him and find out. A lot of people prejudge people from past performances and things like that. But the way I look at it, you have to really sit there and fight the guy.
The book on you going into this is that your big chance is going to come as the result of your punching power. Do you believe you have a punching power advantage?
There's a lot of people who say that. I think I have a punching power, but I also have the ability to win.
Evander, there are very few southpaws in the heavyweight division. As far as I can tell, it's been 8 years since you've been in the ring with a southpaw. How difficult was it to find southpaw sparring partners to get you ready for Michael?
Well, it was a lot easier for Don Turner. I don't usually pick the sparring partner anyway. I have 2 sparring partners, and they're very good. They're fast-handed. I have one that heavy-handed, pretty much like Michael Moore. And so I'm working with them and trying to change to be able to at least look at the style of the fighter. But I truly believe, because Michael Moore is a warrior, that we won't have to look for each other. We just both be there.
All right, gentlemen, thank you both very much for your time. Michael Moorer, we're going to let you go, and once again, I appreciate you being with us. Evander, if you'll stick around, we'll be talking to you a little bit later about your good friend Pernell Whitaker. Okay, so both the heavyweight champion and the challenger go their way for the moment. We turn back to HBO boxing analyst Larry Merchant, 2 weeks away from another heavyweight championship fight. What do you think?
Well, distilled to its essence, in my view, we have a heavyweight champion who is a veteran, a great warrior, coming off perhaps the most emotional fight of his career. He's done just about everything there is to be done as a heavyweight champion, including amassing a great fortune. And he's going up against a younger, unbeaten, presumably hungrier challenger, who's also trying to become the first left-hander to win the heavyweight championship and is a good puncher. This, to me, are the ingredients for a potential upset. And if not, as Evander Holyfield just said, they won't have to look for each other, and you won't have to look for them either. They're going to be right there in what figures to be a tremendously dramatic, action-packed fight.
Well said, and I think that's the conventional wisdom in the sport with regard to this fight, that it ought to be a thriller. Larry suggests that there's a lot of danger here for Evander. You agree?
You know, ordinarily I would say so, but Evander has painted himself into a corner again. He's an underdog. He doesn't have a trainer. He doesn't have managers. This guy he's got to fight himself out of this corner. He's an underdog. He can do it now.
So in doing things like firing Stewart that a lot of us might think are dangerous for him, you believe he's given himself new incentive.
That's right. He's lost a lot of sleep over not being properly ready, and that's enough to make a champion get out there and fight like a challenger.
I can hardly wait for Friday, April 22, but first, the business of these two welterweight fights. We're going to look at James Buddy McGirt going against Livingstone Bramble. Now, a lot of people will remember Bramble as the great warrior who beat Ray Mancini twice, was one of the better fighters of the last 7 or 8 years. What does he have left?
Look, this guy, he said to me in so many words, he's not relying on his power, his physical ability anymore. He's starting to reach inwardly for spiritual strength. And sometimes you reach inwardly and you get enough strength to take you over the top. He just may have that strength this time.
All right, spiritual strength is one thing. On the other hand, a good left jab might be of more help, particularly against a fighter like McGirt, who wants to get back at Pernell Whitaker, Larry. What will he have to do to earn that title shot?
3 things, I believe. 2 of them in the ring. First, he has to win impressively. He's a New York fighter who, with good reason, is much admired by the influential New York media. And if he can give them something to clamor for, that will help to make the rematch. Secondly, we have to see the left hook. The left hook that was so dominant when he defeated Simon Brown for the welterweight championship. He had a badly damaged shoulder when he lost the title to Whitaker. He couldn't throw that left hook. Since the injury has been repaired by surgery, extensive surgery, he hasn't thrown it very much in 2 prize fights. He has to throw it here, because if he doesn't, well, we've already seen that fight. Thirdly, Pernell Whitaker, who has broken his hand 3 times in prize fights and never used it to complain or explain, believes that somehow his opponent has used that as an alibi for his defeat. He says he won't fight him again until he simply says, McGirt, I lost the fight. 2 out of 3 would be good. 3 out of 3, and I think he can get his rematch.
All right. So enough of our collective brilliance. Let's get ready to go to the ring as James Buddy McGirt and Livingstone Bramble prepare to enter the ring for a bout which, at the behest of McGirt's manager Al Certo, has been scheduled for 12 rounds. It would customarily have been a 10-round bout because it isn't an official title eliminator and it isn't a championship bout. But Al Certo wanted McGirt to be seen at the 12-round level, and thus the 12-round distance for this fight. Now Livingstone Bramble, whom you may remember from his Muslim identity as Rasai Aluya Bramble, prepares to enter the ring. As you can see, he's the former WBA lightweight champion, best remembered by boxing fans for 2 wars, 14 and 15 rounds with Ray Boom Boom Mancini. He won the both. But as you can see there, since 1990, he's fought 16 times and only has 6 victories to show during that stretch.
He is a spent bullet, Jim. But sometimes, under the glare of the lights, maybe his last big occasion, that ammunition can explode in somebody's face unexpectedly. That's what he's hoping for.
Critics say that in recent fights he has not been able to throw the left jab, which was once his best weapon. If he could throw it tonight, it would be of immense help against the very technically skilled, but perhaps still largely one-armed, Buddy McGirt. Bramble has been involved with various managers and trainers in the past several years of his career. He essentially manages himself now, and his cornermen will be the same cornermen who will help Puerto Rican Santos Cardona later tonight against Pernell Whitaker. There's the record: 36 wins, 12 losses, 3 draws, 23 knockouts. He was once a terrific knockout puncher. We're not sure that he has that kind of power anymore.
His 15th year as a professional. This is Buddy McGirt's 13th year as a professional. That's probably more years in the ring for two fighters than anyone since Archie Moore shadowboxed alone.
Now here is one of the busiest fighters of his era, Buddy McGirt. You can see that he won world championships at 140 and 147 pounds. He lost them to two good friends who were members of the 1984 Olympic team. First, Meldrick Taylor, who took his 140-pound title, and then Pernell Whitaker, who beat him in Madison Square Garden March 6th of last year in a 12-round unanimous decision to lift the WBC welterweight title that Whitaker still carries to this day.
In the two fights he's had since his operation, when asked why he didn't throw the left hand, his manager Al Certo said, well, they weren't paying us enough money to use two hands. The stakes are big enough for two hands tonight.
So you think he's getting two-hand money tonight, huh?
He'll pour it in with both hands, especially if he can get a rematch.
James Buddy McGirt from Long Island, once the crown prince of Madison Square Garden's boxing operation. The Garden, for the moment, is dark for boxing. And that, within the long history of this sport, is simply too bad. You heard me say he's one of the busiest fighters of his era. 61 wins. The losses, all three to quality fighters. Frankie Warren, Meldrick Taylor, Pernell Whitaker. One draw, 44 KOs for Buddy McGirt.
A master mechanic in the ring.
And we'll look at the tail of the tape. You'll see that both fighters weighed in just a little bit over the 147-pound welterweight limit. The agreement was 147 pounds, give or take a pound. 3.5-inch reach advantage for Bramble, who recently has been squandering his reach advantages by standing inside and leaning on his opponents.
For McGirt, that's 1 pound more than he weighed in his first fight nearly 13 years ago. Take a look at the punch stat numbers to give you an idea of how busy these fighters are. You can see it. Bramble throws a few more punches. McGirt throws the harder, cleaner punches. And both of them use the jab. McGirt's seems a little stiffer.
Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
James Buddy McGirt and Livingston Bramble will box tonight using the rules of the Athletic Commission of the Commonwealth of Virginia. 12 rounds. The standing 8 count is in effect. The 3 knockdown rule is in effect. You cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the last. Only the referee can stop the fight. And in case a cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, and that cut causes the fight to be stopped, we go to the scorecards if the 6 rounds have been completed. Before that, it's a technical draw. Jim.
Standing 8 count, an unusual rule. We only see it here. Right now, let's go up to our ring announcer, Michael Buffer, for the pre-fight introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fabulous Scope here in Norfolk, Virginia, where tonight, Main Events Incorporated, in association with the undisputed, undefeated King of Beers, Budweiser, proud to be your bud, present an evening of professional boxing for your entertainment. The bouts you see tonight are sanctioned by the Virginia State Athletic Board, Director Doug Beavers, Chief Inspector at ringside, Beba Exton. Our physicians in attendance, Dr. Juan Rivas, Dr. David Woods, Dr. Richard Knopft, and Dr. Joseph Vaccarella. Timekeepers, Stanley Gold and Lewis Latham. The scoring for the bout on a 10-point must system will be done by 3 judges at ringside. For this bout, they are Oscar Bryan, Wayne Peters, and Steve Ryle. And when the bell rings, the man in charge of the action, referee Chris Wollison. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get things started with a 12-round bout. This is a special elimination bout in the welterweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks with sequins and pink trim, weighing 147 3/4 pounds. He comes to us tonight from St. Kitts in the West Indies. His professional record, 36 victories, including 23 by KO, 12 defeats with 3 draws. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the former lightweight champion of the world, Livingstone. Rastaman Bramble.
1
And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing blue trunks with white trim, weighing 147 1/4 pounds. From Brentwood, New York, this two-time world champion has a professional record of 61 victories, 44 by KO, only 3 defeats with 1 draw. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the former junior welterweight and welterweight champion of the world, James Buddy McGirt.
Gentlemen, you were given your pre-fight instructions in the dressing room. I expect you to obey my commands at all times promptly. Above all else, protect yourself at all times. Shake hands. Good luck to both of you.
What we're looking for here, once again, is to see whether Buddy McGirt can throw the left hook. The left hook that devastated Simon Brown.
The left hook, which was absent for all 12 rounds of his title bout against Whitaker in Madison Square Garden a little more than a year ago. McGirt in the blue trunks, Bramble in the sequence.
Bramble has established that he's going to be the aggressor,
as he's been in virtually every fight throughout 51 of them in his career, George.
And he's turned southpaw very quickly. I think he's trying to find out whether McGirt will throw the left hand as well.
Turns from the southpaw stance now back to a conventional stance, perhaps trying to invite the left hook. And Buddy McGirt begins with the jab. Bramble lunging inside and trying to go to the body. McGirt is a smoothie who will start out at a relatively slow pace and seek his opportunities off counterpunching.
McGirt is seeing early on that he can land that left jab. Get effective with a good left jab, a fight can be easy.
Good 1-2 combination by McGirt. Bramble not countering. It seems that when McGirt starts punching, Livingstone doesn't answer.
Seems that Bramble has decided, hey, I'm not going to end this fight in the first, second round. He's going to go for a few rounds. So he's going to take his time, looking for good body punches to weigh him down.
In his best days, Bramble loved a war. It might be difficult to tempt a slick boxer like Buddy McGirt into a war here.
Bramble keeps his hands up straight above his shoulder, but you can see McGirt wouldn't dare do that because he may get hit on that left elbow.
McGirt left hook to the body. He certainly isn't reluctant to throw the jab, George.
The thing that will affect that injury to his left shoulder will not be the throwing of punches, but the blocking of punches. That's what he's got to be careful of.
At his best, Buddy McGirt is a superb technician. The first round has so far been a clinic in jab, straight right hand.
Bramble is aiming his shots to the chest and to the body. It's pretty wise.
Three-punch combination by McGirt. He freezes Bramble with the feint and then backs up and looks for another opportunity to throw the jab. Coming down to the body now. Slow first round for Bramble. Pretty good looking round 1 for James Buddy McGirt.
Hey, boy, Buddy, babe. Have a good time in there tonight. The old Buddy McGirt. Relax. You're looking good. Just stay nice and loose the way you're doing. Try to not jump back so far, you know. But you do what you want. You're doing good. right, give me water. Water.
I want him to throw it, so I know he looks like.
But don't let him to take too much advantage.
Okay, I'm trying to get close to him, but he won't, you know, he keep moving back.
Okay, wait when he come to you. When he come to you over there.
And he start punching.
Yeah, and he start punching, and you punch him back. Yeah. Okay?
All right, seconds out.
Seconds out.
You heard that.
Stay sit.
His trainer wants him to be punching when his opponent punches. So far in that first round, the only good thing about Bramble are his colorful trunks and that wild hairdo.
What's left of his Rastafarian locks. He's gone to a more conservative Rasta do because the full head of locks distracted him sometimes in the ring. Probably distracted his opponents too, George.
Still a dangerous set of hair right there. He can really rough a guy's face up if he put his head down like a helmet.
I agree with you, George. I don't know why they allow him to do that.
Bramble's corner gave him some good advice. They said, wait, let him come to you, then unleash.
McGirt with lefts and rights, just cleaning up for the time being. The jab followed by the right cross, on time every time. There's a straight right, caught on the glove of Livingstone Bramble. But double jab and right cross, and this is a clinic, George.
And he's going by the rule. If you hit a guy twice, he's going to try and pay you back, so move out of the way. Hit and move out of the way. McGirt is doing a good job of that.
But he said that he would give Livingstone Bramble angles to try to keep him off balance. So far, Bramble's been a stationary target, and McGirt has been able to simply move in, hit, and move back.
Well, Bramble's corner has told him to stay back, let him come to you, so he hasn't gotten the rhythm of how to do this.
McGirt landing 15 out of 27 jabs in round number 1. He's been continually effective with it in round 2.
McGirt corner told him to just do what you're doing. You're doing fine.
That was good advice, too, wasn't it?
Great advice.
I'm just afraid, George, that Bramble ain't got no rhythm.
Could be. He believes that he has a punch. He has punching power, and he has some knockouts in his records. Catch a guy sleeping, he can drop it. Now he's starting to throw his...
Stop holding.
Hitting McGirt on his left shoulder.
Probably not a bad idea to target the left shoulder and at least see how McGirt reacts, right?
That's true. You can make him scared of ghosts here.
Get off his head.
Start hitting a guy on a spot that's supposed to be weak. You have him protecting himself from something that doesn't even hurt.
There's an obvious target on the inside of the shoulder where the surgical scar is quite visible. A solid right hand inside by Buddy McGirt, and a left hook that followed right on the button. Good combinations here. Another strong round for McGirt. Bramble trying to pick up the pace, but having trouble finding the target. Now he begins to lean in on McGirt, as he has done with his last few opponents.
Deep breath.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, what you said.
You have to continue. Wait, you never can stop. If he throws 2 punches, you're going to throw 3. Okay, that's right. Deep breath. Deep breath. That's it.
I have to cut him off. What am I doing?
Wait. Work his body a little bit.
Deep breath.
Here's McGirt in action, picking his shots.
Third round.
Double left followed by a straight right. Jim, I remember one little left hook in the first round to the body. I haven't seen any others.
I think you're right so far, Larry. And it could be a case of why risk throwing a lot of left hooks if you simply don't have to be effective. Now Bramble moving in and trying to put more pressure on McGirt.
Watch your heads. Don't lead with the heads.
And when you're fighting a slick technician like McGirt, George, it's probably not a bad idea to get wild and try to brawl right away.
Exactly. Just throw the overhand. Don't wait for a good shot. It may never happen. Just throw what you can.
Right side, don't hold it.
The old kitchen sink approach, right?
That's true.
At his peak, Bramble was a guy who would gladly hit you with a kitchen sink if he could find one nearby.
Bramble is trying to deliver all of his punches from a flat-footed position, from a guy moving away. Sometimes you get on your toes and just start delivering short punches as you go forward.
Bramble taking punishment from McGirt, but at least getting busier here in round number 3.
His corner told him if he hit you with 2, you go back and hit him with 3. Which is going to be the only way he can land punches. You just can't wait until he finishes and hit him back because he moves out of the way. So catch him in the exchange.
Oh, he can't expect to be as sharp and accurate and economical as McGirt. He's just not that kind of a fighter. So he needs to try to tempt McGirt out of that pattern if he can.
As soon as McGirt lays hands on Bramble, Bramble should hit him whether he catches him or not.
There's a good right hand inside by Bramble and a right to the body.
A chopping right hand from a southpaw position.
Keep your blows up.
McGirt coming back to the body, and there was the left hook to the body, Larry. Thrown with a lot of authority.
What's happening here now, Jim and George, is that McGirt is standing down on his punches and he's not running as much. He feels he's much the quicker fighter, and he wants to catch Bramble after Bramble misses. He's staying at closer quarters looking to hurt him.
Which is a mistake because Bramble seems to enjoy that kind of a fight.
Now Bramble switches to the southpaw stance again and tries to shoulder McGirt off and land as McGirt backs away.
Good right hand to the body by Bramble.
And that's an investment for the future, right, George?
That's true.
Stop holding him, right side. Let his arm up.
I don't know how much of a future he has.
Referee Chris Wollison calling Bramble by his old preferred name of Rasai.
A lot of those punches Bramble is catching right there with the wrist of the gloves.
Back to the southpaw stance. Yep.
So it looks like he's been hit, but not.
So 3 rounds completed in the scheduled 12-round battle between Livingstone, Bramble, and Buddy McGirt. Still to come. Pernell Whitaker, finest fighter in the world, defending his WBC welterweight championship against #1 contender Santos Cardona of Puerto Rico. And there is a look into Whitaker's quarters, where as usual the music is playing. The always calm Lou Duva leaning for support on a counter behind Sweet Pea. And Pernell, who gets ready to fight once again in front of the home crowd here in Norfolk, where he has been spectacularly dominant against a variety of opponents over the course of the past 9 years, lacing up the boots.
Seconds out. Let's go. Clean it up. Round 4. Round 4.
We got it. We got it.
I think there's enough grease on Bramble's face.
Stop holding.
Only 6 jabs thrown by Bramble in the 3rd round. That would be okay if he were doing enough to keep McGirt busy and keep McGirt from setting up. But when he droops into a lull, he allows McGirt to set up and get ready to dictate the pace.
Bramble is landing some very important body punches. Those punches are going to be effective if this fight goes over 6 rounds. The left hook that he's missing thus far will start to connect. Good right hand on the side of the head.
Chopping right hand over the top. Unconventional punch. He needs to throw more unconventional punches, right, George?
That's the only way you can catch a good fighter is to do things that they don't practice.
Watch your heads, both of you. Watch
in the
your heads
gym,
when you come
getting
together.
away from unorthodox stuff.
Bramble back into the southpaw stance. Now switches back to the conventional stance. Good right hand by McGirt.
Once again, Bramble is keeping those hands straight up over his face.
McGirt told us he expected to be able to land the jabs through Bramble's guard. So far, he's done a pretty good job of that.
First left jab by Bramble. Jumps it in.
Tries the chopping right hand again, but McGirt was already inside, and now Buddy with a fusillade of quick punches. Good uppercut by Bramble. And Livingstone Bramble seeming to begin to warm to the task here in round number 4. Getting busier, getting wilder, and somewhat more effective than before.
Look at the bodies. You would think that McGirt would just take over and just make this guy run from him.
Well, even as a lightweight, Bramble has always been super strong for his size. Not too many people could walk through him. Ray Mancini tried it and paid the price with 2 losses.
Another good left jab to the body. Bramble through. And a chopping right hand after.
Round 4 coming to a close. It may not have been enough to win this stanza, but it was certainly the best showing so far for Livingstone Bramble.
You got 15 years in the ring. Sometimes you don't want to brawl anymore. Bramble may be thinking that.
That was a 2-minute round. Excellent. Just do that. Don't worry about the people, okay? Very good. Doing great. You look great. Don't forget the right uppercut slide to control your... Right, baby? You're looking great. You got a whole minute. You can't wait too much, Rasai. We have to work. We have to work, okay? You want water? No.
When you leave it in the gym, don't tell me you leave it in the gym. Try to get close, and work over there.
Fascinating that this crowd of people,
Second down,
ostensibly supporters of Pernell Whitaker, the most tactical boxer in the world, would boo for the moment a tactical boxing match.
Well, except that there is a kind of coldness to the technician that Buddy McGirt is. You know, it's somehow there's no emotion dripping off of him. That's just who he is. He's a wonderful, wonderful technician. But he really is in there against a former champion who only has his name to bring to the part, in my judgment.
We are into the 5th round. Bramble leaning forward to try to land the jab. McGirt backing away into the ropes. And now Buddy goes back to work with the left jab and the right cross.
Bramble is thinking that this is my chance at prime time again. I'm not going to blow this, so he may mix it up and we may see more out of him than we think we may see. Good right hand by McGirt.
Step back, I got you. Break clean. Just step back.
Sometimes these lights would bring out of an old champion what you would never think he had. Although I'm not old.
George, Buddy never seems to look at Bramble's head. He's always got his eyes fixed on the middle of Livingstone's chest. Good technique.
Sometimes you got to fix your eyes on anything but the hand. Get you a target that's not going to move.
Well, if you're watching Bramble's hands to try to time the rhythm, you may fall into a trap because there is no consistent rhythm, right?
That's right. He's starting to drop his hands a little bit now, so if McGirt sensed that he opens up with a 4-point combination, we can have a quick knockdown.
Bramble trained for the past few weeks at altitude in Toluca, Mexico. Insists that he's ready to go 12 rounds, though a lot of ringside observers would doubt that. Buddy McGirt's fought a whole lot of 12-rounders, as has Livingstone Bramble.
That right hand by McGirt hurt Livingstone Bramble.
McGirt pausing to look for an opening. Bramble lunges forward, misses twice, misses a third time. And Buddy steps up, and there's a left hook to the body and a left hook to the head. Well, I personally think that the question of whether he's willing to throw the left has been answered. Not a lot, but it's there.
Sometimes you go and show that the left is okay, and you hurt it.
Another couple of left hooks from Buddy McGirt. If that was the question, the answer is yeah, he'll throw it.
The reports from the gym by people who I respect said he was throwing the left hook there. That was the first round in this fight in which he threw it more than one time.
Harold Letterman, how do you have it scored so far?
Jim, 5 rounds to nothing, 50-45, Buddy McGirt. Jim, I think the biggest problem in this fight is Livingstone Bramble don't have no legs. I mean, he's just standing there. Jim, this is one of the biggest rings I've ever seen in my life. If I were playing stickball, I could hit a ball 3 saws and it would still be inside the ring. And Livingstone Bramble is just not moving. Buddy McGirt's moving inside, outside, side to side, and he's doing a job on Bramble, and Bramble just can't move. Bramble's got no legs.
You high school students at home, pay attention to Harold's scoring, but not his grammar. He meant to say Livingstone Bramble doesn't have any legs. Didn't you, Harold?
Exactly.
If you like punch stat numbers, here's a red light. McGirt landed 76% of the punches he threw in round number 5, 81% of the power shots.
Now, Bramble has sensed that McGirt has done all he could do. Now he's going to take control for a while. You can't depend on if you're connected or not. You just got to keep throwing punches.
Bramble stalking, trying to step up his own pace. The danger of that, McGirt is a superb counterpuncher. And there comes Buddy with a 3-punch combination once again. McGirt and his manager-trainer Al Certo deride Whitaker for his performance against them last year in Madison Square Garden. They believe if Whitaker is truly the great fighter everybody says he is, then he should have beaten a one-handed fighter more easily than he did. That's one of the things that angers Whitaker about McGirt. Referee Chris Wallison telling McGirt to keep his punches up. Bramble just not busy enough, George.
Bramble is waiting on a knockout. It's not going to happen with McGirt. He's in good shape, bouncing on his legs.
Chopping right hand landed for Bramble. McGirt with a left and right combination, and then he steps away. Right hand over the top by Bramble. Didn't seem to faze McGirt much.
Get off his head!
The thing about Bramble, you don't go into a big fight like this without a trainer, someone to sketch out a strategy. You just can't get in the ring and just go from left to right without any sense of what you're doing.
Good point. He's working over there with
break. I got you. Stop punching.
Lalo Medina, who is the trainer for Santos Cardona. Cardona also trained in the same camp in Toluca, Mexico, and Livingstone may have saved a few pennies by not hiring a legitimate support staff, but he may have sacrificed a lot of his chance to win the fight.
You've got to have strategy, and no one man can do it. You've got to have a team of people.
Stop holding her outside.
There has to be that we did it.
And tactically, Bramble for the moment is out of it, and it's all Buddy McGirt.
Time!
If this was a prize fight, they would have stopped it by now.
Where have I heard that line before?
Don't you? Y dame agua. Deep breath. Deep breath. Deep breath. Thank you. Deep breath.
Still to come tonight, the 12-round WBC World Welterweight Championship fight between champion Pernell Whitaker and #1 contender Santos Cardona. Whitaker, as you see now, getting his hands taped in preparation for that appearance. George, is that an extraordinary amount of tape that they're putting on Purnell's hands, or does that look about average to you?
Pernell Whitaker, not like the heavyweights, the hands are a lot smaller, so you can put on a normal amount of gauze, and it still looks like a whole lot. But you get a big heavyweight and give him the same amounts, you won't see much. Oh, that is an extra amount. You're right. Using 2 rolls here.
And as Larry Merchant told you before, Purnell has broken his hand a few times in the ring. So there is always concern about the right hand, the jab hand for the southpaw Whitaker. Now we bring you back to round 7 of Buddy McGirt against Livingstone Bramble. Bramble in the sequined trunks, Buddy McGirt in the blue.
Bramble has just landed a good couple of left hooks.
And a nice low blow to the hips.
Sometimes you fake that right hand down and then come back up with the hook and you get what you want.
Bramble with a chopping right inside. McGirt counters with his own right. There's the left hook again. Buddy McGirt rising to the occasion now in round number 7. Crowd would like to see this finished off. They're anxious for Purnell Whitaker to make his way out. He'll be preceded by the Norfolk State University Marching Spartan Legion alumni band. They'll be playing Behold the Green and Gold.
Bramble is real smart. He gets hurt, and he'll say, come on, that didn't do anything to make sure the ref doesn't step in and stop it. It's old strategy.
An old pro.
Stop punching. I got you. Stop punching.
I'd like to remind everyone here that when Livingstone Bramble was in his prime, Edwin Rosario stopped him in 2 rounds. And he is far from his prime.
Edwin Rosario was an extraordinarily heavy-handed puncher for 140 pounds. McGirt, as slick as he is, has never been that kind of puncher, Larry.
He was a lightweight. They fought at 135, and now he's at 140. He's fighting a real welterweight here, and the real welterweight doesn't seem to be able to do anything more than sting him momentarily.
Keep your blows up, James. Keep them up.
I still say I'm not sure McGirt should be judged on punching power in comparison to somebody like Edwin Rosario, who was, at that weight, extremely explosive.
He was indeed.
McGirt landing well. Bramble still sticking his nose in there, and you give him credit for being competitive, outgunned though he may be.
He still believes that if he continues to pound her, he's going to get something out of it. He's plotting. He never can give up. Never give up.
Don't let him rough you up in the inside, you understand? Show those uppercuts in there. Okay. And get out of there. He's starting to get fresh. He gets too fresh, knock him out.
Nice deep press, buddy. Put him up, man.
It's all right. No, let him do that. Yeah, you're going to get plenty of water.
As soon as he throws a combination, you back up. Go right after him again. Now you got to go after him. You got to make a fight out of him.
Second go.
Let's work. Let's work. Stay with
Round 8.
Hey, down five, baby.
Bramble late off the stool as the 8th round begins, squeezing out the last few seconds of rest.
Which is very good for a fighter.
Smart, right?
That's right.
Spoken by a man who stands up between rounds in the corner. So you must not be so smart, right, George?
I know if I sit down, I can't get up. Bramble is starting to be effective with his left hook.
I think that's called Newton's Law, right?
Yeah.
Livingstone Bramble, as George told us, beginning to be more effective with the left hook. McGirt pounding away, and Larry, I guess the point you were making a round ago is that McGirt's punching power should be called into question here, given all of the solid punches he's landed, right?
I couldn't have said it any better.
That's a big burden on McGirt. He's trying to not only win this boxing match, but he's trying to win over his press crew there. Tell the world that I'm the best of the next pound-for-pound champ.
He's trying to generate the momentum that will bring him back into the ring for a chance to regain his title from Pernell Whitaker.
The people at home should be warned that a couple of times Rocky Marciano would get into the ring and guys would spin him, beat him up 1, 2, 3 rounds, and you would think, what is this guy doing in the ring with Edson Charles? The next thing you know, Edson Charles is out sleeping. So Bramble could pull a good rabbit out of the hat here.
You're comparing Livingstone Bramble to Rocky Marciano.
No.
Break, I got you.
We're talking scripts here.
You're making conversation. I hear you. After 7 rounds, Buddy McGirt had more than doubled the number of punches landed by Livingstone Bramble. Bramble still unable to make it an all-out war, but he landed a good leaping left hand coming off the ropes there, and another straight left there. So Livingstone once again begins to warm up a bit. Right hand over the top. Throw more, Livingstone. You can make it exciting here.
Livingstone is starting to deliver some left to the chest. This fight, those left hooks that he's missing now could start to be a little more effective, as I said earlier, in the latter round.
Time is running out here, George. We are well into the back 9 here. McGirt with a left hook to the body again. Kind of flailing with that left hook inside, but he's been solid with it on more than a few occasions.
McGirt's hands are getting lower and lower. Bramble, of course, these guys said that they were in the best shape of their lives. The hands are starting to go down and down.
How many times has a fighter told you he's in anything other than the best shape of his life? Not often, right?
They'll say it every time.
Stop! I think if he does a job on him, they'll stop it, Al.
Yeah, he's starting to get tired now. Put that thing over there. Give me the water.
There you go.
Good boy there. What round is this? 8?
This is the
9th coming up.
9th coming up. Come on, do.
Great.
We want every round, buddy.
Try dropping that right uppercut and slide in with the hook.
Okay.
If he could do it.
You know how I think if he eats a made 10 or 12 shots in a row, the guy can stop.
Easy. He's trying to let
And what you got to go, stay on top of him. Don't lose him. Don't lose him. Stay with him and make a fight out of this. What's that? He don't know. He can't hold up on work.
All right, seconds out. Moby. Round 9. Seconds out.
Stay
round 9.
Let's work.
Bramble again seated for a couple seconds beyond the bell to begin the round, squeezing out every last remaining opportunity to get a rest. Buddy McGirt comes across the ring in a hurry to get at him.
Good hold. Stop holding. Stop punching. Break clean.
Those are 2 good left hooks, back to back.
Bramble holds on with his right hand and tries to throw his left hook.
So the consensus here is that McGirt's shoulder has to be judged 100%, right, Larry?
Well, I don't know if it's 100%. I can't judge that. He doesn't seem to be putting a dent into a shot fighter, even though he's just hitting him with everything he can. But he is throwing the left hook.
Bramble is able to turn McGirt to McGirt's left. He can hit him with a good right hook. He's just barely missing him time after time.
Pawing there with the left jabs. Some of Bramble's punches are just feeling rangefinders. Then there are the wide flailing efforts, and every once in a while he steps up and lands something solid. McGirt, ever the technician, throws his punches with clear precision.
Get off his head, let him off.
Bramble is there without any strategy. He's just going to hit you back and hope I knock you out.
Which might have been a strategy in and of itself if he were hitting back enough. But he's got to be much busier than this to have a chance.
I think if I saw this in a sparring session in the gym, I would have walked out of it by now. Seen everything I want to see or is going to see.
Well, let's hope our viewers are more entertained than that, since we're staring at the potential of 3 more rounds of this.
If Bramble can force him to move to his right, he can get him a quick knockdown with this right hook he throws occasionally.
Stop.
Buddy McGirt is just running the table over and over and over again.
Good boy. Stay out of the clinches, all right?
Thank you.
Watch that fucking guy's head.
Okay.
Yeah. He's looking to survive, buddy. Looking good.
80%.
What round is this?
Now that's a number.
10th round coming up now. 10. 11 to 12. I'll put it on.
Watch Buddy McGirt. Now we just have to admire a guy who is really a wonderful technician. Over 60 professional fights. Does it the right way. Missed being a star. Was a champion twice. Missed being a star just by fractions.
Round 10.
When he lost to Meldrick Taylor.
Round 10.
And then, of course, when he lost to Pernell Whitaker.
Well, many around the country, accustomed to the notion that New York media dominate public perceptions, would ask, how could a guy fight 61 times, most of the time in Madison Square Garden, and not become a big star, with New York writers watching him and writing about him all the time? How did that happen, Larry?
Well, he just happened to come along at a time when Meldrick Taylor was a terrific fighter at his peak, much as Tommy Hearns came along when Sugar Ray Leonard was a terrific fighter at his peak. That set him back several years, actually. And then there was the Pernell Whitaker thing, when he fought him with a bad shoulder. As his manager said later, he had a bad shoulder before the fight. He had $1 million in a bad shoulder after the fight. But he paid for that by losing his title.
So as a fighter, he's been brilliant. As a public figure, he has labored in tough luck.
I think that can be fairly said. And it's an indication that when a fighter is this good and he doesn't gain the public's attention, how hard it is to do that and how few fighters can.
Get your head off him, Rossite.
See any signs of life in Bramble here, George?
Not at all, but he still believes he can land that good one punch that can drop McGirt. He still believes in himself.
Well, that is indeed a beautiful thing, but there are few at ringside who would agree.
You notice after every combination that's delivered on Bramble's head, Bramble comes back. He initiates the contact. That says a lot for courage and an intent.
Well, do you agree with Larry that it's a negative statement on McGirt's punching power?
No, there's no doubt in my mind that he is not going to go down in the history as a great puncher if he goes to history.
He's trying to go up in history right now. Good thrashing right by McGirt as he steps away. Bramble keeps coming back for more, taking 2 for every 1 he gives. And for once, it was Livingstone who finished an exchange.
Good straight right hand by Bramble. Bramble is going to the side. Some of the punches you're not able to see. Those punches are starting to hurt McGirt.
He's less of a visible, straightforward target now, beginning to give Buddy something on the order of angles, but now he steps in front of him again and lets Buddy whack away.
Time!
A slightly more aggressive round there for Livingstone Bramble.
Left glove.
Left glove, tape it. Danny boy, left glove. Give it to me.
Harold Letterman, how do you have it scored so far?
Larry, if we're in the back nine, as Jim Lampley previously told us, I got Buddy McGirt ahead 10-0 on a leaderboard. I mean, this is a shutout if I ever saw a shutout. Absolutely no question. 100-90, 10 rounds to none. I still think Livingstone Bramble's just standing in the middle of the ring. He's got to give us more motion in order to catch Buddy McGirt. Buddy McGirt's just getting inside, getting him shots off and getting out, moving beautifully to the right. I don't think there's anything wrong with his left shoulder either. I think you're 100% correct. I think Buddy McGirt is 100%.
So now we go into the 2 extra rounds that manager-trainer Al Certo demanded to have for Buddy McGirt, so that McGirt could be seen to be functioning at the same stature and level that Pernell Whitaker occupies when he fights championship fights. This is an unusual circumstance, and if McGirt gets in trouble as a result of it, Certo may regret it.
Stop holding! Yeah, but right now I kind of think I hate Certo for giving us these 2 extra rounds.
Uppercut inside by McGirt. Bramble, gutty, still chasing, still taking a lot of leather.
Why didn't Al Certo leave well enough alone?
Good straight right hand by Buddy. Doesn't appear close to gaining a knockout over Bramble, so we can probably look forward to 5 more minutes of this.
Bramble is starting to get that left hook in a little better. If he had opened up a few rounds earlier, things could have been easier.
Well, then maybe Livingstone should ask that the fight go 15 rounds, George.
You know you got a point, huh?
Too late.
You love torture, don't you, Jim?
The proverbial glutton for punishment. Me and Livingstone.
Sometimes if you be persistent, it'll pay off. You'll get your rewards. Livingstone, keep throwing punches, anything can happen.
Well, he's a model of persistence, no question about that. Whoa.
He's landing good, effective right hands on McGirt's left side. Another good left, straight right hand by Bramble.
4-punch combination by McGirt. Tell you what, you call Bramble, I'll call McGirt. We'll see who talks more. There's a left and a right, and another left by McGirt.
The fight is going the way Bramble should want it. You're behind, let's mix it up. Give me something, I'll take it. Now another right hand by Bramble.
And where has it been the whole night? Well, I guess he's been building up to it, right, George?
No, I think that what's happening here is that McGirt is trying to really stop him, and so he's staying on top because he doesn't think Bramble can hurt him, and Bramble can hurt him.
Quit holding him.
That right hand by McGirt hurt Bramble.
Yep. Stopped him from throwing. 1 round to go.
All right, baby. Put your legs out. Don't lay in there with him now. I want you flying around the ring, but I want you punching. You understand? Use every punch you know in this here. Last round. Look like the champion that you are.
You're in great shape. Let's go. Last round. Touch gloves.
Cool it down. You have to throw punches outside.
This guy's ready to go. I'm stick down. You put the pressure on him, he's going to go. That's all. Don't give him a chance to come back at you. Keep on top of him. Put the pressure on. And don't be afraid to use that jab. Anytime he gets set, you see him shoot the jab.
Put all your combinations together.
Seconds out. Last round. Last round. Don't touch gloves.
Don't be afraid to use the jab. What the heck good is that going to do him at this point, George?
Oh, no. You got to use everything else. Everything but the jab now.
Don't be afraid to use the bumper on your Buick. That might do some good.
Break clean, I got you. Step back, step back.
I think Bramble is only sorry he didn't try this early on. He was saving himself.
Watch your head, Ross. I don't lead with it. Don't lead with it.
Bramble took a moment to yell back at referee Chris Wollison. McGirt with a stiff left jab. Boy, Buddy's just beautiful in there sometimes with the footwork and the combinations and the sheer professionalism. A real fighter.
McGirt has got his legs under control now. It's going to be hard to get that hard shot that Bramble thought he would get at this round.
There's a leaping left hook by Bramble. Maybe the last hurrah.
Good right hand by Bramble.
All in all, though, George, it's likely to be the 11th loss in the last 17 fights for Livingstone Bramble.
And I think it's because he didn't come in with a proper strategy. He didn't know when to open up. Nobody timed him, engaged him. Your trainers don't know when to turn you on or turn you off. It's hard to win fights like that.
So you think he could still be a lot better than this if he had the continuity of a real full-time trainer and the real work in the gym that would go with it?
That's right. He came on, but at the wrong time. That's when you need trainers and people to put you in a proper pace.
Buddy's been with Al Certo his whole career.
Buddy McGirt is breathing out of his mouth now. This should have happened in the 7th round.
Oh, what a solid straight right by Bramble. And another chasing right. He's going to finish the fight with a flourish. McGirt counterpunching, backing away. Who knows? Bramble might have even won a round for himself.
There's no doubt about it. The last 2 rounds in my book, but my book, who's the publisher?
Your book is unofficial, but we're the publisher. So, Buddy McGirt, as Larry Merchant told you, Larry felt that he needed to do 3 things to get a title shot against Whitaker. 2 of them in the ring. Did he do it, Larry?
Well, I think you could say that was impressive. He had the perfect opponent to look impressive. He won the fight easily. Secondly, did he throw his left hook? Yeah, he threw it more than any time we've seen him. It didn't do much damage, but he did throw it. The third thing we'll have to see in some future time, whether he's willing to admit that indeed he simply lost the first fight.
Harold Letterman, your scorecard.
Jim, 120-108, 12-0, Buddy McGirt. I don't think Livingstone Bramble even won the last round with that left hook that he landed with 5 seconds to go. He was just outpunched the whole round. I mean, it was just a beautiful, masterful performance by Buddy McGirt. He moved inside, got his shots off, went to the right, kept out of harm's way. No question, he dominated the fight beginning to end.
Harold, let me ask you a question. Aren't most judges naturally disinclined to score shutouts? Wouldn't they be looking in the late rounds for a round to give to Bramble?
Without question. You really hate to score a shutout. You'll lean over backwards to give a guy a round. But, you know, one punch, 5 seconds to go. McGirt won a 12th round also.
All right, final punch stat numbers. And you'll see the statistical indicators of Buddy McGirt's dominance in the fight. Landing 177 more blows than Bramble. Bramble got a lot busier in the closing rounds and raised his connect percentage up to 45%. The 64% from McGirt, well, you just don't see that kind of number very often. And here's how it looked in jabs. It will be dramatically one-sided, and you can see that McGirt threw 2.5 times as many jabs and landed more than 3 times as many. Landing, according to our CompuBox computer operators, more than twice as many jabs as Livingstone Bramble. Right now, let's go up to ring announcer Michael Buffer for the official
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the scorecards.
Good job.
Steve Ryle scores about 119 to 109. Oscar Bryan and Wayne Peters score it identically at 120 to 108 for the winner by unanimous decision, James Buddy McGirt.
Excuse me. Wayne, can you bring him over? No.
All right, so it was a unanimous decision. BC Welterweight Championship that Pernell Whitaker lifted from him in Madison Square Garden last year. Without further ado now, let's move forward to our second main event of the evening. Pound for pound fighter in the world, clearly won the fight, was jobbed